Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure Migrate video. In this video, we will be going to talk about all the processes which we need to follow to migrate a GCP VM to Azure, right? Well, here is the agenda of this whole process. So, when you're migrating a VM from Azure to the Azure from GCP, it's have a three different stages. The first stage is the discovery, second one is the assess, and the third one is the migration. In this specific video, we will be going to talk about all about the discovery, how you can do the discovery of the GCP instance, what are the configurations or the services you need to create at the Azure side, or what are the preparations or the configurations you need to done on the GCP side, right? So to discover a GCP instance, these are the following things which you need to do. You need to prepare or set up your Azure account. You need to prepare your servers on a GCP for discovery. You need to create a project. You need to set up the Azure Migrate appliance, and you need to then from there you can start or continue the discovery of your VMs, which is already created into the GCP console, right? So let's quickly jump into the demo. So I already have Azure subscription, right? That's our first requirement. The second requirement is to prepare the instances on the GCP. So if you go on to the other tab, if you see, I already have my two VMs running. One is the discovery appliance, another one is the demo, and both of the VMs has been configured into the same virtual network. Both of them have a fully connectivity in both of them, and the other factor which we may required in our which we required in our demo is to have a public IP. So both of my VMs have a public IP already available, right? So that's the second prerequisite, right? So third prerequisite is to create the Azure Migrate project, right? So to do that, you just need to go into the Azure Migrate. You can search from your search bar also. You just need to search for Azure Migrate. Once you search it, you can click on it, right? So and then what you need to do, you need to click on server, database, and web app. This is what we are going to do being as a discovery, right? So if you go into the project, you would be able to see I already have one project is already created, but we will not be going to use this project for this whole scenario or complete process. What we are going to do, we are going to use a new project, right? So click on new project, select the subscription, and let's give it a name, right? Project name, GCP migration. What is the geographic is going to be? So geographic means where the metadata is going to be stored for this project. So I'm keeping it in a United States, right? And then you can select the connectivity methods, right? So for this POC, I'm going to use the public endpoints only. However, in your real case scenario or in production scenario, connectivity method might change, right? So once all of this information has been filled, click on create. It's going to take a few seconds to create this project, right? Once this project is created, then we would be able to move forward, right? So we have completed our third prerequisite, like create the project, right? So the next step is to configure my the discovery appliance, right? For that, what we need to do, we need to uh, done the few configurations or few steps on the Azure side, and then we need to move into the discovery appliance VM, and from there we can go ahead and configure the discovery appliance, right? So once your project is created, you would be able to see into this one your project, right? So I already have the GCP migration project which I have created, right? So the next step is to click on discover, right? So once you click on discover, you would be going to get options, right? You at the top, you're getting two options. Either you can import from CSV, or either you can discover using the appliance, right? So in our case, what we are going to do, we are going to use discover using the appliance, and then you have a three option when you're selecting the drop down options. You have a VMware's vSphere hypervisor, we have a hypervisor, we have a physicality on the and the others, right? So if you're discovering it from AWS, GCP, any other cloud, you always need to select for physical and the other, because all these cloud services, Azure Migrate basically detect them as a, or basically sense them as a physical server, right? We need to just click on third option, and the next is to generate the key, right? So first what we need to do, we need to put the appliance name. So let's give it a appliance name, right? So I think it's the bigger one. Let's keep it a short. Yes. And then you need to click on key, generate key. This key is going to use to register the discovery appliance to this Azure Migrate project, right? And then you need to download this migration appliance, and then you need to set up it into the GCP, right? Meanwhile, this key is getting generated. Let's move to our GCP console, and this is the VM which I have created uh, for uh, for the discovery appliance. So yeah, let's click on RDP, right? So okay, just click on here. Yes, sorry, just click on uh, download RDP file, and then here you need to give the username and a password. So I do have a username. How you can get the password? That's something you need to go on GCP console, click on drop down option and set the Windows password. Uh, this is my user, right? And when you click on set, it will pick the password which is already created, and it will going to give me that password to log into the VM. So this is the password. Go back to the RDP session, paste the password, and click on continue, right? So once this is connected, you can get the link from sorry get the link from here. You just need to click on this, and you can just click on copy link, and you can download the Azure Migrate appliance on your VM, right? So in this VM which I have logged in, I already have Azure Migrate setup downloaded, and I already have extracted that into the desktop, right? So what is the next step is going to be, right? So meanwhile that key is getting generated, we just need to download the Azure Migrate installer, and we need to extract it. And the next step is going to be, right, we need to run the installer script which is there. So let me show you what is the script look like. So if you go into this folder which you have extracted, this is the PowerShell script which you need to run to install it, right? So let's copy the path of this folder, open the PowerShell, right? Run this PowerShell as an administrator, right? Go to the path of the Azure Migrate folder and run for Azure Migrate, right? So once you're running the script, it's going to ask you a few things, right? Now it's asking you, do you want to publish this the certificate on this system to run this one? Yes, I want to run it. So yes, click uh, and I mean enter the R and press on enter, and then it's going to verify few things which is required there. Now it's asking you what kind of applications you are using it. So I'm selecting the third one because this is what we have selected into the Azure project for this appliance. Third one is just asking us what is the scenario of the cloud is going to be, right? We have three types of cloud. We have a Azure public, we have a Azure US government, and third we have a Azure China. So we need to basically select according to the from where we are migrating it, right? So in our POC we are just migrating it from GCP to Azure public only. So we're going to select first option, right? So as soon as you enter the first option, it's going to ask you the connectivity method. As I told you as I told you few minutes ago, like we in this POC we're going to only use the public one. However, in your real case scenario, you can also use the private connectivity method also, right? So let's select the one because this is the public endpoint connectivity. We are going to use it and click on enter. Now it's asking you uh, basically to see if you want to do any kind of change into this options or any configuration changes which you have done, or you're okay with the configurations or the option which you have selected. I'm saying yes, go ahead and do the continue, right? So once you click on continue, it's going to install all the requirements or uh, all the required component on this, right? So it's creating the registry, it's enabling the IS role, all of the configuration required for Azure discovery appliance will be done. Meanwhile, let's go back to the Azure portal and see what's happening. So as of now, the key has been successfully generated. This is the key which we are going to use to register our Azure discovery appliance, right? So let's go back to the discovery appliance VM on the RDP session and see what's happening. So it's going to, as I told you, it's going to install each and every component which is required for discovery appliance, and then from there we would be able to move forward, right? So as of now, we just need to wait to get this installation to be get completed. So one more thing which I would like to highlight here is if you see uh, it's installing all of these MSIs which is already there into the Azure Migrate installer, and all of these MSI are basically part of the services of the discovery. So if you see, it's installing everything here, right? Now it's asking us to again bind the certificate which is there, which is a kind of it's detecting as a non-trusted. Do you want to publish this one to run this application as a trusted one? Yes, I want to do it because I know this is directly coming from Microsoft, so I don't have any issues to run it. So it's going to put this certificate as a trusted one. Again, it's asking us to uh, run sorry detect sorry add the certificate as a trusted one for registered trusted side on the IS. Yes, let's go ahead and do this one as well because that's the requirement of this one. However, if you have your own certificate which you want to bind up with this IS, you can do that as well, right? Now one important thing is the server which I'm using it is only having the Internet Explorer. So it's asking us, do you want to install the Edge one? I would say yes, go ahead and do that because I need the Edge to be installed on this machine. So it's going to download the Edge setup directly from the Microsoft centralized repository, and it's going to install the Edge browser to move forward. So Edge browser has been successfully downloaded. Now it's asking me to run the process. So I'll click on run so that the installation can successfully get completed. So it's installing the Edge browser on this machine, right? So let's wait this installations to get completed for Microsoft Edge, and then we'll move forward. All right, so the installation of the Edge browser has been successfully completed. Let's cross this one, go back to the PowerShell and see what's happening there. Right, it's asking me, do you want to remove the Internet Explorer browser from this machine, right? uh, okay, let's give it a no, because I will do it manually. And now the installation has been completed. The warning is only about the skipping of IE uninstallation, which I have done, right? And it's asking you to, yes, that's the warning which is there. Now once this installation is completed, what you will see, you will see one shortcut on this desktop, the desktop of this discovery appliance. So you need to go on that shortcut and you need to click on run. This is the further step. So the first step which we have done right now is the installation of Azure Migrate Discovery Appliance. Now the next step is to configure it. That's where we are going to use the project key to register this migration, this discovery appliance with the Azure project which we have created, right? So you just need to click on it, right? Once you click on it, it's going to open a web page into the Internet Explorer, right? It's asking you this connection is not private because the certificate is not valid. Might be uh, because this is the although we have already trusted it out, this certificate is already trusted it out, but this is still a self-send certificate, right? So click on advanced and click on continue to this web page. Now once you do it, it's going to run a few uh, steps on this in this discovery appliance, where it's going to validate the connectivity. It's going to see if we have a connectivity with the our Azure services also. So all of those things will be validated in this is one, right? So it's loading as of now, right? So meanwhile it's loading, let's go back to the Azure portal and copy the key, which is going to be a very important part of this configuration. And let's go back to the RDP session. So yeah, first of all, it's asking us to see all the terms and condition and agree it if you are okay with it. So yes, I'm basically clicking on I agree, because that's what we need to do to move forward, right? So once you're done, it's going to check the connectivity with the Azure. It's going to check the time syncing with Azure. So all of these things looks green, which means we can move forward. Now you just need to paste your key here, which you have copied, and then you need to click on verify. So now it's going to verify it. So if you can see, the Azure Migrate project key has been successfully verified. Now the next step is appliance auto update status, where it's going to see if there is any update which is pending or anything which is required to be installed, right? If there is any update, it's going to install automatically, and then it's going to rerun whole the process, right? And then once the auto update and everything has been done, we just need to log in with the appliance, because that's where it's going to use that users to get connected, right? So that user which is required here to register this appliance with the Azure Migrate can be of one of your user, which you can specifically create for this appliance, and can have a contributor access at least to register, right? So let's wait this auto update status to be get completed, and then we will move forward. So you can see the appliance auto update status have installed few updates. So what we need to do, we just need to click on refresh, and it's going to refresh the page, and then we need to run the whole process again because it's have installed all the critical and required patch for this discovery appliance. All right, so once you refresh it, it's going to run all the prerequisites from step one. So it's have checked the connectivity, it's have checked the time sync with Azure. Now let's verify the project key, right? So once you verify it, it's again going to run the appliance auto update status to revalidate if there is any more update required, because sometime what happen if there is any critical update that has been installed, or if there is any other updates which is a dependency on the other update which need to be installed before that, then that has to be fulfilled, right? So most probably it's going to recheck it and see if there is any update, any pending update which is required to be updated here, else we would be able to move forward. So let's wait this appliance auto update status to be turned into the green check, and then we'll move forward. All right, so appliance auto update status turned into the green, which means there's no more pending updates. Now let's log in into the appliance to register it. So what you need to do was you just need to click on login, right? You need to copy this one and click on login. It's going to open a login page into the new tab, right? Here you need to log in with the user which is required to register this appliance. That user should have at least a contributor access on the subscription, right? So just first paste the code, click on next, and now it will be going to ask you for the username and the password for the registration, right? So sorry, the user is going to be this is the user. Click on next. It's going to validate the user if this user is available on the Azure AD or not, and then it's going to ask you for the password, right? Enter the password and click on sign in. And once the validation is completed, you just need to click on continue, and you have successfully signed in into the PowerShell application. And from here, now we can completely close the step. Now, once you came back into the appliance configuration, you will see it's have already logged in and initiated the appliance registrations, which can take up to 10 minutes. So yes, we need to wait for this registrations to be get completed, and then only we would be able to move forward. All right, so appliance has been successfully registered. You can click on here to see the further detail also if you want. Else, we can move forward to the next step, right? So the next step is where we will be going to specify the credentials and the VM, right? So once you click on the view details, you can see what are the cloud, what are the subscription, what are the project, what are the appliance name, and what is the machine ID which has been registered into the Azure project, right? So as I told you, the next step is where we will be going to uh, we're going to add the VMs for the discovery, right? So let's close this one, move to the next step. So the first step is which is going to be there to add the credentials, right? So I already have created a credentials for my client VM, which I'm going to add it. So let's simply add the credential. You need to select the source. What is the source that's going to be? So I'm selecting it as a Windows server and give it a friendly name is admin user. Credential is admin user. Username is, and the password is what you have set, right? And click on save. Once you've done it, it's going to use this credential or this credentials to discover the VM, right? So you can use or what you can do, either you can, I have used the local user or local account. However, in your real scenario, you might be having a one AD user or the Active Directory user, which can be used to discover all the VMs, right? So that centralized user can be used, right? And then from here, you need to add your discovery source. Once you click on add discovery source, you have two options to do that. Either you can add a VM manually, or you can import the CSV as well, right? So you can download the CSV file, you can add your data into the CSV, and you can import it if you want to import the multiple VMs. If you want to add multiple items through the IP addresses, you can click on this option to add the multiple IPs. And if you want to add a single item, you can use the single item as well, right? So I'm using a single item. My discovery source is going to be a Windows machine or Windows server. What is the IP address is going to be? That's something I need to see, or I can check on the GCP console. So let's go back to the GCP console and see what is uh, the private IP of this VM is. Sorry, that's something you can check directly on the page. So I think it's 10.0.0.3. Yes, that's the internal IP of this client VM which I have already created. Now let's go back to the appliance and add the private IP of the client VM and select the credentials which you want to map and click on save. It's going to validate it. So it says due to the invalid credentials, right? So which means credential is not correct. Let's go back to the RDP session and try to connect with the VM and see if these credentials are working, right? So this is the VM, right? Let's try to click on connect, admin user, click on OK and see if that credential worked or not. All right, so the credentials are not working, right? So what I can do, I have two things. Either I can go ahead and reset the password of this one, or either I can create a new credential directly from the GCP console, right? So let me go back and create the new credentials directly from here, and that's just going to be the admin user set. It's going to give me the new credential directly from here, which I can use as a password for this user. So let me copy this one. Let me go back to the RDP credential. Let me go back and edit into the credential and paste the credential here. Click on save. And it's revalidating. So the revalidation has been successfully done, right? Now what is the next step, right? So once the validation has been completed, you can add the credential to discover the SQL VMs as well if you want to run or if you want to do. In my case, I'm not doing any discovery for the SQL instances or SQL server, and then you can click on start discovery, right? So this discovery is going to take I can say 2 to 5 minutes to get this completed. Meanwhile, discovery is getting completed. Let's go back to the Azure portal and see what are the changes we are going to see, right? So once your discovery appliance is configured, you can go ahead and refresh this page. Once you refresh it, you would be able to see what are the uh, what are the discovery appliances has been configured. You would not be able to see in the same pages, but you can go back and you can click on server data and discovery, and here you would be able to see the appliance which has been successfully configured. So if you click on this number, sorry, if you go back to the overview, if you come on the Azure Migrate, if you click on server data and web app, you would be able to see the appliance which is successfully registered here. If you click on this number, you would be able to see the appliance configuration, what is the discovery agent version, what is the assessment agent version, what is the SQL discovery version, what is the appliance name, right? So all of this information would be available here, right? So once this appliance has been registered and your discovery has been done, you would be able to see a server count here. So as of now, I don't see any server count here because the discovery is still in progress. So we can give it some time, and when the discovery is completed, it would be able to see how many total VMs has been there, right? So yeah, let's wait this discovery to be get completed, and we move. Then we will move forward. So one more important thing I would like to show you. So if you see in our server, the discovery is still running, right? At the same time, if you go into the portal, you would be able to see if your discovery is in progress or it has been completed. Now, discovery of the server is still running, and same time, if you see on the Azure portal, it's saying the discovery is in a progress. So yes, whatever the things has been going on here in terms of discovery, same thing would be available here also, right? Which means you do have a visibility of the discovery of the both side, right? So the discovery has been successfully initiated. Go back to the Azure portal to review the discovered inventory, right? Which means everything has been done on this appliance side, right? Now we need to go back on the Azure portal, and here we would be able to see what is the status, right? So let me refresh this project once and see what is happening. Is the discovery is in a still progress, or it have basically discovered the VM, right? So the only changes which you will see the discovery count here, and you will see the OS distribution here also, right? So my VM is basically a kind of a Windows machine, which means it's going to discover the one VM and it's going to show me the Windows count as a one, which has been done, right? I can successfully see the discovered VM. If I click on the discovered server, I would be able to see this is my VM which I have discovered. It's showing me how many applications I have, right? If you click on the applications inventory, it's going to show me how many applications I have. So you can see I have a plenty of Google applications which are pre-installed into this VM, right? So that's how it's do the discovery. It can show you the all the information about the VM, right? At the same time, right? At the same time, to do the further discovery, right? If you want to see anything related to the to the discovery or anything, you can simply install the dependency agent here, which can give you the more dependencies into the each other, right? So let's take an example. You have a multiple VM, right? And you want to see the dependency on both all of them, right? So that's where you can install dependency agent on this VM directly from the Azure portal, which allows you to see what are the dependencies the VM has on each other. What are the communication? Which port has been used for communication? What are the services are being communicated to each other? Right. So that's kind of things you can see into the dependency analysis. Right. So once your dependency analysis has been done, it's going to show you all the dependency. It's as of now the dependency analysis has been enabled. If you click on the dependencies, you would be able to see a very good graph. I can say the map data to see what are the dependency is there on the VMs, how they are being connected, right? So as of now, if you see, there is no process has been running. There is no dependencies has been there, which means we are good to move forward, right? So that's how you can install the dependency agent on the VM to do the dependency analysis. Well, that's it in this demo. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.